From the moment she was old enough to understand words, the elders of her world spoke to her about the bond, not as something gentle or beautiful, but as a warning, a danger, a slow poison that entered the mind and never left. Her people believed bonding tied emotions too tightly, weakened judgment, and destroyed rulers from within. To them, love was not strength. Distance was. Humans especially were feared. They were emotional, unpredictable, too willing to attach. Ancient records showed humans forming bonds quickly, deeply, and without hesitation. Those records ended with loss, confusion, and broken alliances. Because of that, Princess Aelira was taught one rule above all others: never let a human get close. She followed that rule carefully. She trained her mind, controlled her breathing, and kept her face calm even when fear rose inside her. She became known as the Cold Princess, the careful one, the future ruler who never acted on impulse. So when the human ships arrived at the border station, she watched them from a distance. The station itself floated in silence between stars, a massive structure of metal and energy. It was meant to represent peace, a shared place where alien and human forces could meet without war. Aelira did not trust it. Peace always felt temporary. The humans arrived quietly. Their ships were smaller than alien cruisers, rougher in design but efficient. Soldiers moved in clean lines, armor scratched and worn. They did not bow or show fear. They simply did their jobs. One soldier stood out, not because he was loud or proud, because he was not. His name was Evan. Aelira learned it when she heard another human call out to him. Evan moved with steady control, always watching, always aware. He did not stare at her like some of the others. When their eyes met briefly, he looked away, not in fear but respect. That unsettled her. Most beings either feared her or admired her. This human did neither. The peace talks began smoothly. Words were exchanged, promises made. Aelira listened and remained silent as tradition demanded, yet something felt wrong. The air in the station felt tight, like a held breath. Then the alarm screamed. The station shook violently. Lights dimmed and flickered. The sound of metal tearing echoed through the halls. Aelira's guards moved instantly, forming a shield around her. External breach, someone shouted, pirates, or rivals, it did not matter. The station was under attack. Explosions rocked the outer ring. The floor tilted sharply. One blast hit too close, throwing everyone off balance. Aelira was slammed into a wall. Pain shot through her side, sharp and breath-stealing. Her guards tried to reach her, but smoke filled the corridor. Another explosion cut them off. Aelira was alone. She tried to stand. Her leg gave out. Panic rose fast and hot. She forced it down. Panic led to mistakes. She had been trained better than that. Footsteps echoed through the smoke. Aelira reached for her sidearm, but her hand shook. Then a human voice cut through the chaos. Calm, clear. Princess, don't move. Evan emerged from the smoke, weapon lowered slightly, eyes scanning the area. He spotted her injury immediately. I can help you, he said. Her first instinct was to refuse. Humans were dangerous. Close contact was forbidden. But another explosion shook the hall, closer this time. She had no choice. Do it, she said. Evan moved quickly, efficient and careful. He checked her wound, tore fabric from his own sleeve and wrapped it tight. His hands were warm, too warm. Aelira felt something strange, like a pull in her chest, a tightening she had never known. Fear surged. She pulled her arm away. I am fine, she said sharply. Evan did not argue, he simply nodded. We need to move. This section won't hold. He offered his shoulder without touching her. She hesitated only a second before leaning against him. Every step sent pain through her side, but she focused on breathing, on control. They moved through damaged corridors, avoiding fire and falling debris. Evan shielded her without thinking, placing himself between her and danger every time. When enemy fire erupted ahead, he pushed her behind cover and took the hit himself. The sound of his armor cracking was loud. Why? She asked, shocked. You could have moved, he shrugged even as blood darkened his sleeve. You matter more right now. No hesitation, no pride, just truth. Something inside Elira shifted. They finally reached a safe chamber where alien and human forces regrouped. Medics rushed in. Evan stepped back, allowing them to treat her first. She watched him as they worked on her wound. He stood quietly, ignoring his own injury until ordered otherwise. He did not look at her, yet she felt aware of him in a way she never had with anyone else. When they were separated, relief should have followed. Instead, she felt empty. Back in her quarters, Elira tried to meditate, tried to clear her mind. But her thoughts kept returning to Evan, his calm voice, his steady hands, the moment he stepped into danger without question. That night she dreamed. She saw the station burning. Evan stood alone, holding the line. She felt his pain, his resolve. When he fell, she woke with a sharp gasp and a racing heart. That was impossible. Bond dreams were a sign, a warning. No, she whispered to the empty room. This cannot be happening. The next day she avoided him. She changed schedules, stayed behind guards, and refused joint patrols. Yet every time he passed nearby, her mind felt clearer, calmer. The elders noticed. Her advisors whispered. Scans were taken. Results came back uncertain but troubling. Your energy patterns have shifted, one elder said carefully. This resembles early Bond signs. Fear tightened around her heart. She denied it, ordered silence. Bonds destroyed rulers. History had proven that, but history had never spoken of humans like Evan. Later that cycle, another attack struck the station, worse than before. Systems failed. Evacuation alarms blared. Elira was rushed toward an escape route, but the path collapsed. Again, she was trapped. And again, Evan came. This time, she did not push him away. As the station burned around them, she felt it clearly. The bond forming, not consuming, not weakening, anchoring. And for the first time in her life, Princess Elira wondered if everything she had been taught about humans was wrong. The fear was still there. But beneath it, something stronger was growing. The fire alarms never stopped screaming. Princess Elira leaned against the cold metal wall as the station shook again. Dust drifted down from the ceiling like gray snow. Her breathing was fast, uneven, and no amount of training could slow it now. The bond was no longer a question. It was there, clear, present, and impossible to ignore. She could feel Evan, not see him, not hear him, but feel him like a steady light in the dark. His focus, his concern, his pain sharp and controlled like he refused to let it grow. That terrified her more than the explosions. This was what her people feared: connection, shared sensation, emotional reach. Everything she had been trained to avoid was now wrapped around her mind. Princess, her chief guard said urgently, we must move. The station core is failing. Elira nodded and forced herself upright. As they moved, her steps faltered, not from pain this time, but distraction. Images that were not hers flickered through her thoughts. Narrow corridors, smoke, human soldiers pinned down covering civilians. Evan was fighting. The knowledge struck her with sudden clarity. Without thinking, she stopped. He is near the eastern hangar, she said. The guard stared at her. Princess? I know, she said firmly. There are civilians trapped, human and alien. If that section falls, they will die. How do you know this? An advisor demanded. Elira hesitated. Speaking the truth felt like stepping into fire, but more lives were at stake. I am bonded, she said quietly. Silence fell. Shock rippled through the group, fear, disbelief. That is impossible, one elder said. You would show signs of instability. Elira met his gaze. Do I look unstable? She did not wait for an answer. I will not abandon them, she said. Not now, against tradition. Against law, against everything she had been taught. But she felt no weakness, no loss of control, only purpose. They rerouted toward the eastern hangar. Inside, chaos ruled. Fires burned along the walls. A damaged transport lay on its side, blocking the exit. Civilians huddled behind shattered crates. Human soldiers formed a defensive line, firing in controlled bursts. Evan stood at the front. His armor was cracked. His left arm hung stiff, blood soaking the sleeve. Yet his stance was solid, every movement precise. When he saw Elira, his eyes widened. "You shouldn't be here," he said sharply. "You shouldn't be either," she replied. Another blast shook the hangar. The ceiling groaned. "We need to move them now," Evan said. "This place won't hold." Elira stepped forward. Without hesitation, she placed her hand on his shoulder. The connection surged. Both of them froze for half a second. Evan sucked in a breath. "I can feel you." "So can I," she said. There was no fear in his voice, only surprise and concern for her. "Does this hurt you?" he asked. "No," she said honestly. "It makes me clearer." Together they acted. What followed was not magic, not destiny, just coordination so perfect it seemed unreal. Elira directed guards and soldiers with calm authority, anticipating threats before they appeared. Evan moved where she guided him, trusting without question. They cleared a path, lifted debris, shielded the weak. When the final transport launched and the hangar began to collapse, Evan was still inside. Elira felt the danger spike. "No," she said, grabbing his arm. "Now." He tried to argue, but the ceiling gave way. She pulled him forward, strength fueled by urgency and something deeper. They escaped seconds before the hangar imploded. The station did not survive. What remained drifted in silence among the stars. In the aftermath, the truth could not be hidden. Medical scans confirmed it. Energy resonance patterns between Elira and Evan were stable, balanced. Strong, the council summoned Evan. He entered the chamber alone, unarmed, standing before alien leaders who had ruled for centuries. "You are accused of binding our princess," the High Elder said. "Explain yourself." Evan did not bow. He did not plead. "I protected her," he said. "That's all. You deny forming the bond intentionally." "Yes. And yet it exists." Evan nodded once. "Then it wasn't a choice, it was a result." The elders exchanged uneasy looks. "You understand what this means," one said. "Such bonds have ended bloodlines, crushed empires." Evan met their gaze. "Then judge me for my actions, not your fear." Elira entered then, ignoring protocol. "Enough," she said. Gasps echoed through the chamber. She stepped beside Evan, not behind him. "Equal. This bond has not weakened me," she said. "It saved lives. It strengthened my judgment. It did what your laws failed to do." The elders protested, but Elira raised her hand. "You fear humans because they feel deeply," she continued. "But that depth is not chaos, it is commitment." She turned to Evan. "You did not seek power. You did not seek me, you acted because it was right." The chamber fell silent. The High Elder studied them both for a long moment. "History may be wrong," he said slowly. "The bond was recognized, not as a threat, but as proof." In the days that followed, word spread across the empire. Humans were no longer spoken of as dangerous binders, but as beings capable of loyalty that crossed species and stars. Evan returned to duty. He did not seek titles. He did not seek comfort. Elira remained a princess, but no longer alone. They did not rule side by side in ceremony or legend. They stood together in action, in crisis, in truth. And for the first time in generations, the alien empire faced the future without fear of connection. Because they had seen what humans truly brought when they bonded. Not control, not weakness, but the courage to stand when everything else fell apart.